And I personally don't feel that it's the City of Riverdale's responsibility to get pedestrians safely from one trail to another. I don't understand why that's the city's responsibility. These two trails exist. They don't cross paths. It's not our fault. It's not our problem.
Karen is a pejorative slang term for an obnoxious, angry, entitled, and often racist middle-aged white woman who uses her privilege to get her way or police other people's behaviors. However, Karens come in all shapes and sizes and can be any ethnicity, nationality, race, sex, gender, sexual orientation, or political affiliation. Welcome back to What the Hell, Karen? A weekly satirical take on Karen and the entire Karen family. This week is City Council meeting week, and Karen has friends in high places. First up, she must deal with a pesky neighbor and the sign he has placed on his lawn. Little does her neighbor know that a fellow City Council member is a member of her complaint. And little does Karen know that her neighbor gets the interest of the local TV station, and his story is aired on the evening news.
I was getting ready to tear down and I found the "My Neighbor is a Karen" sign, and I remembered back to when I went to City Council and the City Council member Stephen Golt had told me that he wanted me to take it down.
David Robbs, owner of World's Cheapest Fireworks in Washington, says he put his sign calling his neighbor a Karen back on the corner of his property because Councilmember Stephen Golt asked him to remove it at a City Council meeting about a month ago.
Take your sign down that says "My neighbor is a Karen" or Catherine or whatever it is.
I did speak to Councilmember Golt on the phone, but he declined an interview. Rob says the request to remove the Karen sign violates his free speech, and within only a few hours of the sign being on display again this week, a visitor came by the tent.
I actually got a visit from Councilman Golt, and he said to take down the sign and that he was going to do his damnedest to make sure that I did not get a license to set up this year.
Washington Mayor Jaron Rosine says Robbs called to complain about the discussion with Councilmember Golt after putting the sign out.
Our First Amendment rights are protected, but our First Amendment isn't without consequence.
The mayor says the legalization of fireworks has not been a positive one for Washington, and not just from short fuses with people. The city banned the use of fireworks within city limits last year.
It's a lose for people with animals that react to it. It's a lose for people with triggers to explosion. It's a lose for people that have had their house or garage catch on fire, which happened last year. That was the straw on the camel's back.
Mayor Rosine says the city doesn't have control over where Robbs or other fireworks vendors could lease land to sell their product. Robbs says he does plan to reopen in Washington, but says his concern over free speech still stands.
My thing is the fact that he's using his authority as a council member to specifically try and ruin a business that isn't even in his ward that he's over.
In Washington, Brian Tabbitt, KCRG TV9 News.
That City Council member that is a member of Karen's complaint is not new to controversy. Though he sometimes has good intentions, he tends to rub people the wrong way.
Reason why I bat all of this nonsense back in this little frivolous
Councilman
talking.
Mays, that is your
I'll wrap
time.
up.
Excuse me, sir. Can we have some decorum, please?
Did you learn a new word, decorum?
No, I
What
have
is
an
he
extensive
talking about?
vocabulary, but can you please wrap up?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Thank you.
So I'm used to this mess, Mr. Edwards. We'll talk and we'll see what happens. And I'm used to all this power play and new folks I dealt with Maurice Davis, Juan Tuez Davis.
Okay, point of order. Your time,
and the
your
rest.
time is up. What's your point of
I'm
order?
asked to be excused till y'all finish deciding.
What's your point of order?
According to Rule 29.6, any person being heard at a council meeting may be called to order by the president for failure to be germane, using vulgarities, for personal attack of person, institution, and for speaking in excess of allotted time. Councilman Mays is speaking in excess of his allotted time.
I just asked him to wrap up, and he's just been excused.
Point of order, Madam Chair.
What is your point of order?
I'm so tired of this. I'm going to ask to be excused and sit in the audience because everywhere I turn here, we done said wrap up. He's speaking out in loud.
That's not a proper point of order. Is there any more discussion in regards to moving item number?
Next up, A few of Karen's complaint bring their church to town and are greeted with protests for their stance of, "But my holy book says."
My name is Shella Koch. It's 4828 Culberson Court. It's Keller, Texas. I'm also here as one of the protesters at Steadfast Baptist Church. And I appreciate you listening to me, Mayor and City Council, today. And I'm sorry that I have to play this for you.
What does God say is the answer, is the solution for the homosexual in 2022, here in the New Testament, here in the book of Romans, that they are worthy of? These people should be put to, every single homosexual in our country should be charged with the crime, the abomination of homosexuality that they have. They should be convicted in a lawful trial. They should be sentenced. They should be lined up against the wall in the back of the head. That's what God teaches.
I apologize. I did try to cut out some of the bad stuff with that. I found this video last week when my kids sent it to me. We have 6, 3 of them are part of the LGBTQ community. It wasn't just the video. It was the hooting and hollering of his congregation in there with that incited violence that scared me. Yes, I was angry yesterday. I was at that protest, and I want them gone, and I will be there every week until you all get them out of here. We don't deserve to live in this kind of violence and threats. In my community, I have teachers, I have a salon worker, I have a house cleaning lady, and to call for their execution, I just can't. And then my own kids. I urge you to please look into this and please do an investigation and get these men out of our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila. I'm here to let the council know of the hate group that has entered their city. This hate group is called Steadfast Baptist Church. It was in June of 2021 that I first came across the offensive defamation against women in the LGBTQ community. The hate statements, videos, and social media posts prompted me to join the protest that started in Hearst and now has moved to your city. And I apologize for this, but this is quoting him. "They are all dirty, disgusting, skank whores." In another video, he also states that women in positions of leadership and authority are actually a curse upon our nation. For the women that walk into the church, because what if they don't have a way out? What if those kids don't ever feel the love of 2 undying parents?
Council members, at the very least, you should encourage the strip mall owner, Cider Property of Dallas, to revoke this church's lease. Further than that, you should call on the Watauga Police Department to launch an investigation into this church and its dangerous statements and threats to public safety. Where the members of this church have violated the law, they should be fully prosecuted.
I do not wish for anyone to be killed or to be murdered. Anything that someone says about that is lying about me or slandering me. In the state of Texas, there is the death penalty for certain crimes. I believe that. That is not an incitement to violence. I do believe from the 1600s, 1700s, and 1800s, if you study history, that homosexuality was a capital punishment in this country. I still believe that should be true today. And that is what the Bible says in Leviticus 20:13. If I believe the Bible, that is not a threat to this community or to the council members or to any person in this room that is willing to follow the laws of the land and the law of God.
The city of Watauga and its police officers are allowing this community, this sodomite community, to intimidate church members from worshiping God the way he should be worshiped in truth. And if you don't do something, something will happen bad.
Because there's a large disconnect between them and reality, what is right and what is wrong. They think that they are the word of God, and it's up to them to decide who deserves death and who gets to live. That's all I have to say.
Karen's brother is also having his own issues with the city council meeting that he sits on and freely airs them while a city council meeting is going on while the public looks on.
I want to make sure you've got your camera on tonight, okay?
It's on.
All right, good. First off, before I give my report, I think it's despicable that what goes on in here He's got the right to film it, but it's being broadcast all over YouTube.
It's a public meeting, right?
I'm not sure. Is it?
Yeah, they are public. This is a public meeting. So are they going to know?
What, do you think it's right that what I give information to the council from the EDC is broadcast all over YouTube?
course,
It puts
why not?
me,
Why wouldn't it?
it puts me in a position that I don't like it.
Well, why wouldn't you? You stand behind what you.
I stand
put out
exactly
there, then
behind
Why
it.
does it bother you
But
if people see it?
I don't like it, Ryan. And I don't like it, Cody. I cannot honorably bring somebody in here that I'm trying to put a business in here and sit in this right here and the guy sat there too. It will not come. And I want to move forward.
Well, Mitch, didn't like that, we wasn't gonna move forward. We
I'm
said
not
we was
kicking the can down the road.
Well,
Just keep
what
kicking
help? What help? I hope that I want to do that right there.
And I've got people, named in this individual right here that is actively, and I
That
don't
ain't got
want.
nothing to do with that, that has nothing to do with it.
I do. And
Well,
I'm
that's what I'm
done.
saying, that's a personal
But
thing.
that-
That's
No.
a personal thing, that it has nothing to do with the council.
You got your
Now, I'm gonna speak up once and for all, it has, don't have a damn thing to do with the council.
Tax on me personally, better stop.
Mitch, that's enough.
Don't you
Do I
smile
need to
at
bring the laws in
me.
here?
Don't you dare.
No, I can't get the law. You can't do that. That's wrong. That's wrong.
6-4, review, discussion, possible action by the council to accept or reject the resignation of Mitch Cox as Economic Development Board member and chairman. Any discussion?
As the acting chairman of the Economic Development Board, I don't want to accept his resignation. He has called and apologized for his behavior, and he has been the most proactive person on our Economic Development Board that we've ever had. His enthusiasm, his go-getting, I mean, we've never had anybody that has that much energy. And he's willing to go out and get things done. We've never had anybody that has that much enthusiasm. We've had more done on the Economic Development Board since he's been in charge than we've ever had to get things done. And without him, I think that we'll go back to the humdrum, here we sit.
The growth rate for the state of Texas overall, I think, is 10.6%. I think that's correct. Growth rate for Morris County is 6.1%. We are going to have to be extremely aggressive to grow this county and not put back some of the goods and services that it once had.
He knows people. He knows lots of people.
So you made a motion?
I make a motion that we do not accept his resignation and we ask him to come back.
Do I hear a second?
I second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We have 3, 4, 2 against. The motion passes.
Remember this guy?
I just love harassing people, especially cancer patients, because they're weak and vulnerable, weak and vulnerable and easy targets. I love harassing cancer patients.
Well, he's been pretty busy this past year, and he's been noticed, not just by those on YouTube and social media, but by law enforcement because of what he has been posting on social media.
Call the cops. Oh, I hope they do. Hey, do you guys support the satanic pride propaganda?
Yeah, both.
You support it?
Satan and Pride.
You support Satan?
Mm-hmm.
What's God gonna think of that?
I don't believe in God.
So you
Did
think
you need help with something?
you support the propaganda that's targeting the kids?
There's nothing targeting kids.
It's all over kids' TV shows. It's all over. They're targeting
Kids
the kids.
can choose to wear whatever they want.
Do you support the sexualization of kids through pride propaganda by
Sir,
corporate?
is there something that we can help you with?
I'm just asking people questions. What about you, sir? Do you
I'm
support
not
this?
answering any questions, but if you're here to cause any disturbance in the store,
I'm just asking questions. Do you work? Do you work
but
for the
you're
Target?
disrupting.
Do you work
yes,
for Target?
I do actually.
Where's your name tag?
I am the undercover loss prevention.
Oh, okay.
So
I'm just asking questions. So do you support this satanic propaganda?
I'm not
like she
answering
does?
your questions. What you need to do is you either need to leave the store.
God will judge you guys.
Okay.
I mean, I can't. You won't if I don't believe in it.
And also, is that our shirt?
Yeah, it is.
Are you going to purchase that shirt?
Hey, ma'am, do you support this?
What did I just say?
You support pride propaganda?
stop.
Whoa,
I
I'm buying
need you-
this.
I need you to.
Whoa, let
you just
go,
said you're
man.
not buying it.
I'm gonna buy it and burn it.
Okay, that's your choice. You can totally do that.
Well, what I said is you need to leave. You can't ask anybody any more questions. You can't disrupt
Freedom of
any more
speech. Call the
people.
police.
Do you want me to call?
Yeah, call them.
Okay.
Trespass me. I don't care, dude.
Okay.
Clearly.
You think I care if you trespass? I've done this
No,
1,000
we never-
times.
His pro-God, anti-everything-else activism just doesn't stop there.
House Minority Leader Reginald Boulding confronted at the state capitol. Video recorded inside shows a man taunting the state representative and other people nearby.
You guys are throwing away our futures by wearing those masks.
Ethan Schmidt is the man heard and seen in the video. He was apparently at the capitol as part of a rally. At one point, he aims a question at Boulding.
Hey, why are you wearing the slave muzzle, man?
Boulding appears to ignore Schmidt, but Schmidt asks again.
That was just extremely disrespectful. It was uncalled for. It was a racial slur, and it's something that should be not accepted in the House of Representatives.
Boulding was speaking with a group of teachers at the time.
It took me a second to process it. I wanted to make sure that I was still giving the respect to the constituents who I was talking to.
This is not the first time the anti-mask activist has tried to stir the pot, but this time the fallout was quick. House Speaker Rusty Bowers officially banning Schmidt from entering the state capitol. Bowers saying, quote, "The hateful and reprehensible behavior exhibited by this individual toward our members, staff, and the public violated the rules of decorum, and it will absolutely not be tolerated in the House."
While I was looking for Ethan's channel, Anti-Maskers Club, which, shocker, is no longer on YouTube, I came upon this Arizona news report about him.
We're going to be going on hunting expeditions pretty soon. Hunting the LGBT supporters across Arizona and Phoenix.
An Arizona man's vile threats against the LGBTQ community now prompting a police investigation. What's not known is whether that man will face any charges for the threats that he's making.
Team 12's Joe Dana has the latest on how police are responding in tonight's big story.
He's not new to social media or police. His actions have raised questions before about what constitutes free speech and what crosses the line.
And God's going to judge this country very harshly.
Ethan Schmidt Crockett of Phoenix has boasted about crashing rallies and meetings at churches and synagogues, and he pleaded guilty to criminal trespassing in December. Schmidt is a provocateur, using words to shock, usually ranting against LGBTQ causes and against abortion. But has Schmidt taken his First Amendment right too far? A recent online rant singles out supporters of the LGBTQ community and the company Target.
We're going to be exposing Target. We're going to make massive scenes. If you support the LGBT agenda, you're not safe. We're going to be going on hunting expeditions pretty soon. Hunting the LGBT supporters across Arizona and Phoenix.
Today, the county attorney's office tells 12 News this video is very concerning. Acts of hate or threats of violence will not be tolerated in our community. Phoenix police confirm they are investigating Schmidt.
If a person just says random word, this is freedom of speech.
Attorney Benjamin Taylor says whether someone is charged under Arizona's threats and intimidation law depends on how specific the threat is and whether there is a specific alleged victim.
Usually it's in the eyes of the victim, how the victim felt. If they felt that they were the ones that were being threatened or intimidated, because you have to have a victim.
Thursday afternoon, Target tells 12 News they are cooperating with multiple federal agencies about the threat.
According to a June 13, 2022 article about Schmidt on azcentral.com, Schmidt Crockett also appeared at the March of Our Lives protest in Phoenix. He was seen with armed militia members who appeared to be attending a counter-protest to the rally in downtown Phoenix, which called for stricter gun laws following recent deadly shootings in the U.S. Another video from the same thread shows Schmidt Crockett confronting the March of Our Lives demonstrators standing in the middle of their path with a megaphone. The Twitter thread also includes photos of Schmidt Crockett sitting on the edge of the sidewalk in handcuffs with a DPS trooper standing over him. The same article also states, the Department of Public Safety arrested Ethan Schmidt Crockett, an anti-mask and anti-LGBTQ activist, on Saturday, June 11th, for his failure to appear in court. The Department of Public Safety identified Schmidt Crockett during a traffic stop near the Arizona Capitol. He was later turned into Mesa Police Department custody.
Ambush me for what?
Put your hands on top of it for me. Step out of your vehicle, face away from me. Release your fingers. Put your hands behind your back.
What did I do, dude? What did I do?
You have a warrant.
For what?
Mesa Police Department.
Mesa? Mesa? For what? For what?
Charles, if you should know what to take. You got any weapons on you at all? No.
For Mesa for what? You guys say for what?
We're gonna go take a seat on the sidewalk, all right?
The Mesa Police Department issued a warrant for Schmidt Crockett's arrest after he failed to appear for a scheduled court date on June 6th, according to Mesa Municipal Court records. According to a court official, the June 6th hearing was regarding a charge against Schmidt Crockett for failure to comply with the law.